You know that feeling when you check your bank account, and instead of immediately closing the app in horror, you actually smile? Like when you stop calculating whether you can afford that coffee, or if buying groceries means eating ramen for the rest of the week. There's a specific number where this shift happens. And it's not what most financial gurus tell you. Most experts will tell you that you need $1 million to feel wealthy, or that 6 figures is the magic number. But here's what they're missing. There's a much smaller milestone that completely transforms your relationship with money. Once you hit it, everything changes. That number, $20,000. Let me introduce you to Barry. Barry is like most of us. He works 9 to 5, drinks too much coffee, and spends his evenings staring at his bank account, wondering why it never seems to grow. Barry's been told to save money, to invest, to build wealth. Every time he tries, it feels like pushing a boulder up an endless hill, sweating, straining, making almost no progress. And just when he thinks he's getting somewhere, something breaks. The car needs repairs. An unexpected bill arrives, and that boulder, it rolls right back down. But what Barry doesn't know yet is that there's a specific threshold, a point where the game completely changes, where that boulder finally crests the hill and starts rolling on its own. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why $20,000 is that turning point, and more importantly, how to use it to escape the paycheck-to-paycheck trap forever. Let's start with what's happening inside Barry's brain. When you don't have money saved, your brain operates in what psychologists call survival mode. Every financial decision gets filtered through fear and scarcity. You take the first job offer that comes along, even if it's terrible, because you can't afford to be picky. You stay in situations you hate because leaving feels too risky. You say yes to things you don't want to do because you need the money. This isn't just about being practical. When you're in survival mode, your brain literally cannot think about growth and opportunity. It's like trying to plan a vacation while your house is on fire. Research from Vanguard shows that having just $2,000 in emergency savings increases your financial well-being by 21%. 2,000. That's less than most people spend on a vacation. But that small buffer creates a massive psychological shift because it moves you out of pure survival mode. When you push that emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of living expenses, which for most people lands somewhere around $20,000, you get another 13% boost in financial well-being. But more importantly, you've now created enough breathing room for your brain to start thinking about wealth building instead of just wealth preservation. Now here's where the math gets really exciting. Let's say Barry starts saving $1,000 every month and earning an 8% return on his investments. Getting to his first $20,000 takes about 19 months of consistent saving and investing. A year and a half of discipline, sacrifice, delayed gratification. It's brutal, and frankly, most people give up somewhere along the way. But here's the part that will blow your mind. Barry's second $20,000. It doesn't take another 19 months. It only takes about 17 months. Why? Because now he's got that first $20,000 working alongside his monthly contributions, generating its own returns. Think about this for a second. Same amount of work, same monthly savings, same level of risk. But he shaved 2 full months off the timeline just because he had more money working for him. That's the power of compound interest starting to kick in. By the time Barry's going for his third $20,000, the timeline shrinks even more. His money is doing an increasing share of the heavy lifting while he's putting in the same effort. And when he gets to the really big numbers, the acceleration becomes almost comical. Once Barry hits $400,000 in his investment portfolio, he can generate his next $20,000 in just 5 months. The same amount that took him nearly 2 years to save initially is now happening automatically through his investments. That first milestone feels impossible. But every milestone after that gets progressively easier. The boulder has finally rolled over the hill. But here's something most people don't talk about. Having $20,000 saved doesn't just change your relationship with money. It changes your relationship with work. When Barry was living paycheck to paycheck, he was essentially trapped. His boss could be terrible, his coworkers could be toxic, the work could be mind-numbing, but he couldn't leave because he needed that next paycheck to survive. This put him in an incredibly weak negotiating position. He couldn't ask for a raise because he was afraid they might fire him. He couldn't push back on unreasonable demands. He couldn't explore other opportunities because taking time off for interviews felt too risky. He was stuck, and everyone knew it. But $20,000 changes the entire dynamic. Suddenly, Barry has what I call walking away money. He could quit tomorrow and survive for months while finding something better. This doesn't mean he should be reckless or burn bridges unnecessarily, but it means he's negotiating from a position of strength instead of desperation. And here's what's really crazy. Often he doesn't even need to use his walking away money. Just having it changes his entire demeanor at work. Now here's where most people mess this up. And I see it constantly. They hit $20,000, feel that psychological shift, and then immediately blow it on something stupid. Maybe they decide they deserve a new car since they've been so disciplined. Or they take an expensive vacation because they've earned it. Or they use it as a down payment on a house they can't really afford. Don't do this. That $20,000 is not a reward for good behavior. It's the foundation of your entire financial future. It's the seed that grows into generational wealth if you're patient enough to let it compound. Let me show you what I mean. The average person spends more money on their car over their lifetime than it would take to achieve complete financial independence. Think about that for a second. Between car payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas, most people are dropping $600 to $800 every single month on transportation. Over a 40-year period, that's easily $400,000 or more. Meanwhile, they're complaining that they can't afford to save for retirement. It's like watching someone spend a fortune on a gym membership they never use while complaining they can't afford to eat healthy food. And here's the thing that makes this even more ridiculous. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses about 20% of its value. So you're not just spending money, you're actively destroying wealth. Compare that to investing the same amount in a diversified portfolio. Instead of watching your money evaporate, you're watching it multiply. That $30,000 car isn't just $30,000. It's $30,000 that could have grown to over $200,000 in your investment account over 20 years. Suddenly, driving a reliable used car doesn't feel like a sacrifice anymore. It feels like a strategic choice that's funding your future freedom. Look, $20,000 isn't going to make you rich overnight, but it will fundamentally change how you think about money and opportunity. It's the difference between surviving and thriving, between reacting to life and designing it. Barry's Boulder finally made it over the hill. When will yours?